meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good day, sir.
Good day. First, let me thank you all for coming here today despite your busy schedules. We've all gathered here for one purpose, and that is to discuss the rights which women have been denied for too long. In the past and in the present, women were neglected by men. Even in literature, women were simply tools used and discarded by men. We must draw the line between reality and fiction. We cannot wait for the change to come to us. We are the revolution, and we must seize that change.
Yeah!
Tell me about it. Like Ophelia, that poor girl was treated like trash.
Hamlet can burn in hell!
Hey, remember that one scene in Hamlet?
Got what you want, got what you need. Be your dream, I'll be your fantasy.
Sarah? Sarah?
Wait. Wrong scene.
Are you coming? Let us withdraw, my lord.
Haha, are you honest?
My lord,
Are you fair?
what means your lordship?
If thou be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
I truly, for the power of beauty can transform honesty from what it is into a bond, then the force of honesty can translate beauty into its likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me, for virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall rise upon it. I did love you not.
I was no more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery! Why wilt thou be a breeder of sinners? I myself indifferent honest. But yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, vengeful, ambitious, with more affects at my back than I have thought to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. We are our knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy way to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the door be shut upon him, for he will play fool nowhere but inside his own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this flag to thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Farewell. Or if thou wilt need marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monster you make of them. To a nunnery, go and quickly to. Farewell.
Heavenly powers restore him.
I have heard your painting too. God had given you one face, yet you make yourself another? You jig and amble and you list. You think them God's creature? And you make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll know more on it. It had made me mad. I say we'll have no more marriage. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they were. To a nunnery, go.
Oh, how noble his mind used to be and how lost he is now. He used to have a gentleman's grace, a scholar's wits, and a soldier's strength. He used to be the jewel of our country, the obvious heir to the throne, and the one everybody admired and imitated. And now he has fallen so far. And of all the miserable women who once enjoyed hearing his sweet seductive words, I am the most miserable. The mind that used to sing so sweetly has been completely broken, making harsh sounds instead of fine notes. The appearance and nobility he had in bloom of his youth has now been destroyed by madness. Oh, how miserable I am to see Hamlet now and know what he was before.
Love, his affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake. Though it lacked a little form, was not like madness. There's something in his soul which his melancholy sits on brood. I do dispose there will be some danger, for which to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set down. he shall with speed to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. What think you on?
It shall do well. But yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief hath sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet hath said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please.
Poor Ophelia. She did not deserve such treatment.
I know, Hamlet was just using her to threaten Polonius and Claudius. Look at how he asked, "Where's your father?"
Polonius is even worse. He used his own daughter to confirm his suspicion. He doesn't even care how she feels after being suspiciously chewed out by Hamlet. After he used her, he just tossed her aside.
You can't get worse than Hamlet. Just look at how he yells at her. He even agrees that men are terrible and are sinners.
This scene just shows how cruel men are towards women. The men are dominant and use women as they please. Ophelia is just a casualty of war.
Hey, I've gotta go. I'm late for a meeting.
Bye.
Bye, Willie.
Oh, Tony's here. Get over.
Sorry I'm late. What did I miss?
Nothing much. We're just discussing how the men in Hamlet were treating women like mere playthings for their own schemes.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Why does Shakespeare depict Ophelia as such a weak, pathetic person?
Well, you have to think about the time period in which Hamlet was written. Women were expected to be subservient to men. They stayed at home raising children, that was it. Men were the dominant ones in the relationship and the breadwinners.
I can see that. Women weren't even allowed to be part of Shakespeare plays because Puritan law prohibited them from taking part in dramas. Women's role was being played by teenage boy with high-pitched voice instead.
So basically, the men and the women in Hamlet are parallels to the men and the women in the 17th century, in that the men have all the power and run rampant.
Oh, so is that why Hamlet was written in the perspective of a male?
Yeah, it was the social norm at the time. Women were seen as weak, so they weren't allowed to play the protagonist.
But I think Shakespeare also wrote from the perspective of the male to highlight how lowly women were regarded. Hamlet and Ophelia are fiancés, but they rarely meet, and when they do, he's just cruel to her.
Oh, and even her own family is regarded her as lowly. Polonius continuously uses her to spy on Hamlet. Then Laertes thinks she is lustful and constantly tells her not to lose her heart nor her chaste treasure.
Ophelia really evokes a sense of pity from the audience because she's this kind, innocent girl driven mad by the men around her.
Shakespeare might have written the work from a male perspective because of his low regard in women.
What do you mean?
Well, some scholars think that Shakespeare might have came to hate his wife, Anne Hathaway, but there's no concrete evidence. Also, she only appeared in his will only once. And she wasn't even there in the first draft, she was only added after multiple revisions.
If we assume that Shakespeare did come to hate his wife, his relationship with Hathaway can be seen as a parallel to Hamlet's relationship with Ophelia. They both started out deeply in love, seen in how Shakespeare chased after her despite an 8-year age gap, and Hamlet proposing to Ophelia, but then they both came to hate their wives. Then, at the end, they fell back in love again, seen in how Shakespeare decided to spend the last few years of his life with Hathaway, rather than in London where he lived and worked for the majority of his life. And Hamlet professed he deeply loved her, despite having told her to go to a nunnery.
If Ophelia is based off of his wife, then what about Gertrude?
Well, Gertrude was another symbol for lowly women. Shakespeare depicted her as unable to survive without a man, which is why she remarried so quickly despite the usual month-long mourning period.
Gertrude's death was totally overlooked. At the end of the play, she reaches towards the glass of wine intended for Hamlet, and she drinks it. Although the king warned her not to drink, she replies him by saying, "I will, my lord, I beg you pardon me." This moment raised the question, does Gertrude actually know about the king's plan of killing Hamlet? When she was dying, she exclaimed, "Oh, my dear Hamlet." This signifies that she might have known about the king's plan and was trying to save Hamlet. However, her heroic moment was overshadowed by the man's death, which is the king's, Hamlet and Laertes' death.
Gee, Shakespeare really likes portraying women poorly.
No, not all the time. Look at A Midsummer Night's Dream and Macbeth. There are plenty of powerful women such as Hermia and Lady Macbeth herself. Hermia stands up to both her father and the most powerful man in the kingdom to marry who she wants. And on the other hand, Lady Macbeth, she's the dominant one in her marriage and controls her husband. Both of these females go against the sexual norm of that era.
Yeah, but look at Othello and Romeo and Juliet. Desdemona is portrayed as being weak and submissive, while Juliet can't survive without Romeo and commits suicide. It's basically Ophelia and Gertrude all over again.
Well, the women never end well anyways. Gertrude was denounced for her lust, Desdemona and Ophelia died because of events outside their control, and Lady Macbeth was condemned for her own ambitions.
Oh, I don't get Shakespeare. Does he support women's right or not?
Well, it really depends on the play. While you're reading his works, you have to think about the woman's purpose, how she's being portrayed, and why Shakespeare might be doing that. You also have to notice the different power levels between men and women and how the men and women interact.
Alright, this has been a very productive meeting. In summary, Hamlet encapsulates the unequal gender division which we hope to destroy. We must act now if we wish to avoid the fate of Ophelia and Gertrude. Meeting adjourned.
Nice meeting you guys. Now that we're done, me, go make me a sandwich.
Me too!
Me 3.
Me 4.